Okay, so this is a quick session. I guess quick is a relative word, but maybe less than 90 minutes, including various topics about how to use the Unity platform or development environment to get your assets, the things you're working on, tokens or whatever you would be working on, from Unity into Tabletop Simulator. And I've got some like objectives things that I said we would cover. Um, the first thing that I want to cover is this just getting started with Unity and using the Tabletop Simulator modding project. And I say let's start with that because um, I'm probably even a beginner myself, right? So I'm very, very near to the beginner stage of doing all this. And I've learned a lot from Brennell and from tutorials that are out there. But if you are beginning like me, then it's probably a good place for me to start. So getting started with the mod is the first thing that I think we should do. So the first thing I did was I downloaded Unity. In Unity, I'll go ahead and go to it and bring over this link, and I'll give this list of links to the group afterward. But this download Unity is the way to do it. And you can download the Unity Hub and a version of Unity. When you do your version of Unity, there is a free version into the Individuals tab, Personal, free, get started. That's the easiest way there. And then do the hub as well. I use the hub to kind of keep all of my projects. This is what the hub looks like, and I keep all of my different projects and different builds. So the working file that I'm in right now is using the 2019 April long-term support build. And I have another one that's a 2020 build because this character that I was working on called Driscoll's, this is for Cerberus's fantasy game, but I needed a newer build to do some of the effects I was working on. So if I wanted to add a new project, I could, um, or do a whole new build. I've downloaded 4 build versions of Unity, and I could create a project with one of them here, or I could actually add a new version of an install and actually download, add, and install. So they keep Unity keeps lots of different versions of their software for years back for compatibility purposes. And I think that's really, really cool. Okay, so the first things that I would do is I would go download, or actually get set up with Unity, create a ID, download the hub, download the software. It's really large, but it's free. So download it, get started. After that, um, instead of just kind of navigating around in Unity on your own, the first thing that I would do after you get it downloaded and set up, I would go to the Tabletop Simulator modding project, and they have a GitHub for it. Again, all these links I will give, but this Tabletop Simulator modding project is a downloadable. So you would go to it and then just download into a zip file, and then open that. And if you notice all these documents here that you download, that is a Unity project. So when you download it to your downloads folder, and that's what we're about to open up here for me. Let's see if I can get it open. So it is, see this Tabletop Simulator modding project? That's actually a Unity project. And what you do is just add a project, just find it, and I'll go get it from my downloads folder. Tabletop Simulator modding project. So open that. So now I downloaded that GitHub project for Tabletop Simulator to my downloads folder, and then I just added it where it was into my Unity Hub. So now I can just actually open the Tabletop Simulator project. And they've done a lot of things just to make it easy to get started. I'm not going to go through that because I've built onto So basically my little working project is the Tabletop Simulator project with all the different assets that I have added and created and done with. So I started with their modding master project and then went from there. So I'm not going to open this one now, but after 3 months of working with their project, I had renamed it and done stuff like that. So we're just going to work in my working project. I already have it open, so I'm not going to click it again. So this is the way Unity looks. This is the default view. You can change the layouts to be lots of different splits. Like I've got it set a certain way right now with 2 on top, 1 on bottom, but you could do layouts and all kinds of different stuff. I like this just because I have the navigator folder on the left-hand side. And this, there are going to be a couple of things that we do today that require the Asset Bundles folder and the editor folder and the scripts folder. I won't go through a lot of this, but if you start with the TTS modding project that I was showing earlier, this one, they have built the scripts. See, I have them, TTS Asset Bundle Effects script right here. They have built the scripts folder, the editor folder. In this editor folder, it is a menu item, create new asset bundles. So if I were to right click that build asset bundles menu, that actually comes about because this little menu item is here because of the way that they built it in their saved project. And then asset bundles. This is a folder that when you create asset bundles, it puts all the stuff in, and you have to have that folder for the editor script create new asset bundles to work. So if you don't have the asset bundles, editor, and scripts folders set up right, things go awry. But if you just start with the TTS modding project, then it's done. It's ready the way you want. So that's my best advice on that one. Okay, so let me go back to my checklist. So getting started with the mod. So download that mod project, download Unity. Oh, and the next thing, really honestly, go to the Unity Asset Store and check out some assets. They're not very expensive at all. And there are a couple of ones that I'm going to use in this package today. So this is the Asset Store link just to get to it. And it's this. It's you can search and filter and find all the different assets you want. And if you've been logged in, then you can just go to your assets here. There is a package manager in Unity, and I have it as a window tab. And this just has all the assets that I've ever purchased, which is really a nice. That this doesn't exist in some of the old versions of Unity, but in 2019 forward, they've made it to where the same stuff that's in the asset store that I've purchased is also in my package manager. So the 3 assets that we're going to use today, and you'll find I'm not a creator, I'm a redactor or an editor. I have not created any of these assets. I'm using them. So the fighters package is a good one, and I'll click on it. You can see this fighters package is so cool, and it's $5, and it's this guy or gal, I don't know, I think that's a guy's name. They created all these fighters, and they're rigged with like a humanoid rigged structure, so that if you do animations, and I've been working in animations, you can work with them, and all of these characters come with $5. So I'm going to use this guy right here today, and I forget, and one of these other guys today. And the people that are playing in Game Night's New Champions probably recognize some of these folks because I use a lot of these in our games. So so I purchased this one, and I have already imported it, but I'm going to walk through after you've purchased something in the package manager. You can go to the whatever thing you've purchased, click download, and then import. Download takes some minutes depending on your connection speed. Import is faster because it's really just decompressing and importing that asset into your project after it's been downloaded. So obviously all of the packages that I'm using today, I have already done the whole download, find the thing, download it, import it. This is actually the asset that I used in our secret prison in the dimensional portal, this little modular prison set. So I'm not going to go through that step because the steps are really easy. Download, import. There you go. Once it's imported, whatever asset you're using, it puts it in your assets folder over here. That's on the left-hand side. And I have organized my assets a little bit, but by default, it just puts it straight under the root of this assets directory. But I have put all those little fighter characters in my characters folder. And then there's the fighters pack. And all those fighters, here they are. So I've already chosen the ones I've kind of got a scene prep to work on. The concept of prefabs is kind of important in Unity development, and you'll see why in a bit. But pretty much every asset that you purchase is going to have a prefabs folder. If they don't, there's probably a sign not to use that asset, in my opinion, because prefabs are they've prefabricated something. They've built it in a way that's usable already. So keep back to the checklist. Okay, so fighters effects. You will see this effects asset in use because we're going to draw from it today, but just a great package. Again, I'm not a builder, and it's $30. I realize that's kind of pricey, but oh my gosh, every effect that I have ever wanted is in this package. And you can see it's just got like laser effects and boom effects and swirling effects, wall effects. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. They can't under advertise this thing. It's just so good. And it says Magic Arcana, Magic Arsenal, but every time I want to do something with superheroes, it's, you know, Earth, Fire. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff. So I can't brag on this thing enough. Whomever created it is pretty awesome. So and you'll get a chance to see it as we go through it. And then finally, the bots. This is actually something I'm working on for Cypher, who's on this call with us. Bots was another relatively
hello.
Hey, Cypher. Relatively inexpensive pack, and they come with different animations in them. Some of them did. So I've already purchased this, imported it. Let me see, load more. This little MX bots. Where is it at? I know it's there somewhere. No, it doesn't matter. I've already got it downloaded. Sometimes the names don't match up exactly right, but I've already downloaded it and imported it. Okay, so those are the three main packs we're going to use. Before I get into starting to manipulate, I'm going to pause. Do you all have any questions? I see a couple of folks, Cypher and Jim Champion and Naked Carpenter. Naked always reminds me of, I can't remember he was a comedian. He did like the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. I can't remember his name.
Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens. Yeah. He had like a thing that he would always ask, "Are you naked?" Anyway, so when I see naked, it reminds me of that. You guys have any questions before I continue on? Okay, feel free to interrupt if you do, and I will step back and try to answer. So I would say getting started. Good. We're going to get to how to manipulate 3D objects.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I see you're using Unity version 2019 4.20,
Mm-hmm.
which is also the version that I've got, but it told me that there was an update. Would you go to the update or stick with the older version?
I'd stick with the older versions unless I need a newer version. It's compatibility is the key for me. And a lot of the assets that I've purchased are compatible with older builds. And I have actually downloaded the newer version for a singular specific task, but I couldn't use some of my older stuff in that new build. So I don't really like to upgrade Unity unless I just have to.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, of course. Okay, so in this next step, how to manipulate 3D objects in Unity. The first thing I'm going to do is set up a scene. Setting up a scene is pretty simple, but you kind of figure out what works for you. If you do a new scene, and actually first I'm going to copy my stand because I like my stand. Okay, So let's do a new scene from the File menu, New Scene. I'm going to save my old working scene. So this is what Unity looks like when you first open it. It's just a blank, looks like a horizon. And if you zoom in, you can kind of see the zero plane here. And now I'm beneath the zero plane the further I zoom in. And I'm scrolling on my mouse wheel up and back. That's it. If you use both Unity and TTS, you'll notice the controls are similar. So if I right click and hold, it drags and moves me around. If I zoom in with my scroll wheel, A and D don't do anything in Unity, whereas they do in Tabletop. So it's really mouse-based controls is what I found. Okay, so every new scene starts with a main camera and directional light, because you need light to be able to see. I never mess with the directional light. Maybe I should. I don't at this stage in my life. But main camera you do mess with. This is the view. So when you actually go to press play to see something, or actually looking at it in game mode, the camera is looking at the direction it's pointed at. So the first thing I like to do is put a stand or like a plane in, because if I put characters or buildings or whatever in that have gravity, and then I go into play mode or game mode, they'll just fall through the floor. They'll just fall forever. It's like in Tabletop Simulator not having the table. So you got to put something down. I have a stand object that has come with one of the assets I purchased in the past, and I just liked it. You don't have to use this stand. You could also just do a game object, 3D object, plane, and then from there you see there's a plane, right? I didn't do anything. It just there. I could put stuff on that now and think they wouldn't fall through. Interestingly, that plane came into the table at negative 658 on the x-axis, negative 253 on the y, and then negative 66 on the z. I don't know why it came there, but it did. So if I wanted just to bring it up to 0, which is where everything seems to default to, I'm just 0, tab, 0, tab, 0. So now, there it is. So that's that little plane I created. And that, if you didn't have the stand that I'm about to bring in, you could just put stuff on that little plane. There you go. And it works. I think that's nice. And that's what I've done for the longest. I'm going to bring in the stand though. And the stand is just cool. So stand is like a, it's like a, I don't know. I don't even know what you would call that. But when you get into it, it gives it some depth and all that stuff. I'm going to put it also in the 0, 0, 0. So this is my stand. I'm going to, check that. So I've set up the scene. I'm going to do a camera. So this camera is already there. It's 1 above 0, and the stand is at 0. So the camera is inside the stand, if that makes sense. I'm going to put, the first thing we're going to do is work on one of Amreco's bots. So I'm going to take this little bot.
Yay!
Yeah. I'll take this little bot, bring it in. The eye fools you. So you see it in the plane somewhere, but the more you move around, you realize it's not exactly where you thought. See that? It's outside the plane. It looked like it was in it, but it's not because of where I put it. So click on the turret boss, click on the object on the menu, go over to the transform, 0, 0, 0. There it is. Now that is below the stand. So I'm going to use the equivalent of the gizmo tool and just bring it up. Where are you? And I'm when I move the whole screen, I am pressing on my mouse wheel. So scrolling up and down on the mouse wheel moves in, clicking and dragging moves the whole screen. So I'm getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. Okay, here it is. So there is the little turret, and we like it because it's nice. I'm going to get real close to it. You can see that it's an angry turret. Okay, so here it is. So there it is. Okay, so that's the turret. Now, when I want to see this and see kind of how it works in play mode, if I press play, I probably won't see anything because my cameras aren't situated properly. Yeah, you see the shadow of it, but that's all you see. So I've got to get the camera set up right. Let's see that. So I'm going to bring up the camera. Again, your eyes fool you sometimes because the so I bet I will be looking at the back of this thing. So again, I'm right clicking and dragging. So when I right click and drag, I can change the view. If that's annoying to some of you all because you already know that, just say the word. But it took me forever to figure out how to keep my controls right. I bet when I press play, I'm going to be looking at the back of this thing. I bet. I don't know. Let's see. I am. Ha ha ha. Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And then I can either turn the camera or I can turn the turret. I don't really care. So I'm going to turn the turret. Okay. I'm using the move tool, but I'm going to change it to the spin tool, the rotate tool. And you can see the different axes that are available. I'm just going to spin on that one. I just clicked and dragged on the axis that I wanted to rotate. If I wanted to rotate it up or down, I could click on that one, click and hold on that one. So now when I turn on the camera, go to play mode, I should be able to see there's our angry turret. So I'm going to move it around a little bit just because we're going to put some effects on this thing. And we want to be able to see the how they work. So let's see if that looks the way we want. And I don't necessarily like the perspective that we have. I'm probably going to move it down a little bit. Again, a lot of this is just kind of setting up the scene, getting it the way you want it. And oftentimes I will get this set up and then I will save it so I don't. And I'm going to kind of tilt the camera. But sometimes I will save a scene that I like, the way the cameras are, the way the light's set, all that good stuff. And then I will just keep that as my default working scene. Okay, so this is good enough for me. The turret is in position with a little bit of distance to the right. So the thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in, if you all will see on this turret, it's kind of like a green light, whatever. Ugh. I think it looks cool, but it doesn't look like it's going to be shooting bullets, right? Because it's got this green thing. I feel like it's going to be shooting some kind of green matter. And Raka, you got any?
Radiation attack.
Yeah, what do you think? You okay with that? Since this is going to be yours.
Magic is green.
Magic is green. Green is good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my little nifty bag of effects. I have a cool pack of visual effects, which is good, but it's not as good as, sorry, whomever that developer is. It's not as good as this Magic Arsenal. Boy, I can't say enough about that one. I guess that's a sign that we're geeks when you get excited about effect packages. So I'm going into this, and again, I was talking about prefabs. The developer of this asset has built oodles of prefabs, and you could just see them. They're so awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do is I think it's cool to have like a muzzle flash on this, and I'm going to do a big one, and I'm just going to bring, and it's the life muzzle flash, like that's what he called it, because it was like life magic, but I just like that it is kind of a green spray. So I've brought that asset in. I'm going to restart it so you can kind of see. You see that? I think that looks cool. It's going up, so I'm going to turn it down. Turn it sideways at least. Let's see how that looks. Okay. So it's not perfectly rotated the way that I would want. So let's bring it down a little bit more. A little bit more. I'll probably just find the right. Yeah, I could probably just rotate it a negative 180. Probably easier that way. Yeah, math. Okay, so a little trick I have found, and I'm sure it's something that Brynel told me. I want this muzzle effect inside the actual muzzle of the thing, you know. But when you get close to it, look at that. It's got like a arcana in it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. You see that? I don't necessarily like, this isn't a magical gun. And I think I want to get rid of the rings. Let's see. I think you can delete them. I'm going to open the prefab. So what I did here is I pressed delete on the rings. But I could also just go into the prefab. So I'm about to edit the prefabricated object that this developer made. I'm going to click on this little button on the life muzzle big object. And I'm just going to delete the rings because I don't like them. That's it. Now, when you look at that thing, you see it. Now it doesn't have the rings anymore. It just has the, you know, the whatever that is. So that's the way I want that thing to look. The thing is, I want it to be inside the muzzle. Now I could just kind of manually move it around till it is situated inside the muzzle. But I've learned a trick. That muzzle gun default. So like if you click on the different pieces of it, it's showing you where they are: the base, the body, and the default. If I take this muzzle object, click it and drag it and put it in this thing, then now it's in the gun object as a child object of the gun. Then if I click on the life muzzle big thing and I just clear out the positioning, keep the rotation because I want it still directionally the way it was, but clear the positioning, it puts it right inside it. Now, that's cool, and it's closer because it's situated at the back of the gun. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to move it forward some, I think. I just moved it out. Can I get the right? Did it? I don't think I did it right. Darn it. Again, your eyes deceive you. Okay, so I'm going to get the red one. I'm going to bring it forward some. And then I'm going to restart it so you can kind of see where it's coming from. Yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Cypher, do you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like right at the spot. We could bring it a little bit closer to the front, I guess. Yeah. So now, whenever it's going to go, right, that's where it's going to go from. And let's look at it in the game mode so we can just see. Play. Let's just see. Yeah. Well, we missed a little bit of it, but. Okay, so I think there's one more thing that I want to do on this. So that's the muzzle flash. I'm going to go back into that effects bag of effects, and I'm going to get a spray. I'm going to take the life spray. Use this one is the best one. Look at that. So we're going to turn that one a little bit. We're going to turn it around. Would it be 90? No, that's not what I want.
45 maybe?
But I think I want Y, the Y axis. Yeah, it was the Y axis. You know, it's like you need to go take a little preparatory on geometry when you start working with this. I'm going to do the same thing, take the life spray thing, put it in the gun default. Take the all the stuff that I had off of it. And now I'm going to move it up forward. So I'm going to stop it. Do the same thing here and stop that. And I just want to see. I think that looks cool. So now that little turret thing does this whole, energy blast spray thing. Okay. So
Run for cover.
yeah, I think it's cool. So let me put it in the play mode, just make sure it's looking right, working right. I've learned that if you don't try things in play mode, sometimes they won't build properly. It looks cool.
It definitely does.
And it kind of goes with the little green eye that was already on the thing. Okay, so right now, we could take this little turret and just build it, like export it into tabletop, and as you bring it onto the table, it will incessantly be spraying green foam energy things everywhere. And that may not be what Cypher wants for his turret. So what I'm going to do is, with that turret boss, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the TTS Asset Bundle Effects package. I think this little guy probably has a good frame around it, but just in case, I'm going to add a box collider. This little box collider, if you've ever had objects on tabletop that don't actually stand on the ground right, and they keep falling over, um, and they look like they have solid feet, or they look like they are square on the base, it's typically because the collider isn't set up properly. So I'm going to basically add a collider around this turret box. So I had turret boss selected, and I did add component, and then when I selected it, I just selected box collider. Once it's done, I see it there, and I'm going to press this little edit collider thing. And you'll see the collider by default is above it. So like the base would have been through the floor. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Yeah, so now I don't want it to hover above the floor. So I'm going to bring it just a little bit.
Actually, if that is Stevie hovering above the floor would be perfect.
Well, this is not, I have your Stevie built. This is just a turret. Like, this is just a little bot thing. If you want it to hover, it can hover.
Okay, cool.
Do you want it to hover?
Um,
Because I could add some
it's
height to it, yeah.
no, just continue on.
Okay. It is not hard. All you would have to do is just take that little bottom thing and just make it, if I did that, it's going to hover that high off the ground, right? Because the image of this little thing is up here, but the collider is that tall. So it
I got you.
can be changed very simply. Okay, and it really doesn't matter that I add the rest of the collider up top, but I'm going to do it just in case something else, Okay, so the collider is there. Now I'm going to add that TTS effects bundle. Now this is where the having downloaded the Tabletop Simulator modding project helps, because I didn't write these scripts. See that it's a script. Who knows? After a year of study and research, I could have written that script, but Tabletop Simulator has done that for us. We're going to create a couple of states. If you've ever gone into Tabletop Simulator and you hover over an object and you see kind of the little, looks like a explosive or a shot or something at the top of an object, that's because it has states, or it has custom effects on it. So I think what we're going to do is, just to keep it simple, we're going to do two states. One is the idle, nothing on, or maybe we do three. No, let's do two. Keep it simple. The first one will be idle, and the only thing it will have is a game object, and the game objects will be the base, the body, and the gun. So I'm going to do three game objects. The first is the base, and I'm clicking and dragging the body and the gun. Oops. Base, body, gun. Now, the dilemma, and we'll find out when I export this thing and bring it into tabletop, by putting the life muzzle flash and the spray in the gun, it might um, incorporate that in this idle state accidentally. And if that's the case, then I'll figure out. I would take these two things out of the gun object. I don't think it will, but we'll find out. So the first thing is the idle state. Has three components in it. Individually, everything that was in the turret boss game object. There you go. The second thing will be the blaster. What do you want it to be called? Cypher or Amaraka? Blaster or something? Anything?
Um, yeah, just put blaster for now.
Okay. So blaster is going to have the same three objects, plus it's going to have all these little particle effects: dust and drops, stream, and cloud. So it's got to have 1, 2, 3, 4 particles. So I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. I'm going to take the base, the body, and the gun. Did I miss it? Did I drop it? So that's the game objects. I'm going to minimize that. Now particles. Dust. That's the muzzle flash. Drops. Stream. And actually, we could remove the drops if you didn't want that, right? If you felt like that was kind of too lifey and not. And then the cloud. Okay, so now the particles are set. The objects are set. I'm going to take off the trigger effects one because we're not doing a trigger effects. And now we have the box collider, the effects built into the object, and now the menu item on the object itself when you get into Tabletop Simulator. Once you've gotten to that, what you do is put this as a prefab. Let me get into my characters pack. I'm going to take the turret boss in its current form, not the stand, just the turret boss. And I'm going to bring it down, create an original prefab, and it does turret boss 1. I'm going to call this, what do you want it to call? What do you want this to be called, America? This is for you.
Oh, let's call it Stevie.
Oh, so this is like an iteration of Stevie, huh?
Yeah, I'm liking it.
Okay. And if you want, I could make it fly. I mean, I didn't realize this was actually going to be a Stevie version. We might even be able to like take that little base off and have it flying. I would have done all that. Do you want me to try to take that base off?
Sure.
Okay, so I created that extra. So it's called Stevie now. But what I'm going to do, where is that base default? We're going to delete that thing. Open the prefab. Take off the base. Does it look okay without it? Does that look okay? Yeah. It's like a.
That looks a little top heavy, but sure.
It looks like a can, like a big huge can. You want me to leave it there instead?
Yeah, actually, because the original picture, I don't have a good picture of it, but it was from a Stronghold module.
Okay. So keep the base then.
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. Then this is actually exactly as we would want it, the Stevie thing I created. So I took the turret boss, click and drag it down into whatever folder you're working on, and then it automatically creates prefab, dot prefab. You can see the suffix there. Yeah, suffix. Once that's there, you click on it, and then go to the asset bundle, and sometimes you have to scroll down to the portion of this, but go to asset bundle, do new. I'm gonna say Stevie V3. Actually, I've made a second Stevie before. Okay, so once you've done that, and sometimes whenever you do new, it gives you like an error. It just kind of it like won't let you type. Just press escape, try again. So like sometimes if I were to create a new and start typing, it doesn't let me. And all I do is just escape out, click on it again, new, until it lets me. After a few times it does. Okay, the Stevie V3 is selected. Stevie V3 selected. Now this is where it's important that you had the editor script for create new asset bundles, the asset bundles folder, and the scripts folder. Scripts folder, I just used that asset bundle effect scripts. The editor, I'm about to use the right click menu build asset bundles, and it's about to put them in the asset bundles folder. So I'm in my characters working folder. Stevie is the only asset that I have selected. I'm not going to build any others. There's nothing else there. Right click, build asset bundles. So it's doing the thing. And it just takes a few seconds. I guess this depends on your computer speed. It's not internet speed. It's my processor is doing its thing. We'll see how that works. Okay, building and compressing. Okay, it's done. It gave me a little warning because some of the things in the particle system, some of the effects in my magical effects package are obsolete now, which is kind of sad because I like them, but maybe the developer will update that package and it won't give me that warning. Okay, so it's built. Now where is it, right? So it's in that asset bundles folder. If I were to right click and refresh that, there's Stevie V3. Now I actually want to get it. I want to go to the folders for it. You kind of, if you need to find it, so you would right click on it and then reveal it or locate. This is in a Mac, so it does reveal in Finder, but I bet on a PC it's like
Yay!
locate or something. Yeah, I know. So here it is. It's going to open it up for me in a window. Here it is, Stevie V3. Now, Breno probably curses me every time he sees this because I'm using an asset bundle builder that doesn't put the proper suffix on it. So I just have to actually rename it to a Unity3d file. The asset bundle builder, when I right click, it puts all the assets in a file, but it just doesn't put the .unity3d on the end of it. So I just have to go in and put .unity3d. I probably could go into the script that's creating those asset bundles and just put .unity3d on the end of it, but I don't want to mess things up. So here you go. This is a 477 kilobyte file. If it was 20 megabytes, I might go in and try to mess with the textures and make it smaller. But that small, okay, who cares? That's not that big a deal. Okay, so here's the fun part. Let's go test and see if it works. So we're going to go to Tabletop Simulator, and I've got a scene up already. This is a scene that we're going to use eventually in Game Night's New Champions, like a little Chinatown or something. Go to Objects, Components, Custom, Asset Bundle. Put it on the table. Main. Oh, and I think I have to, for some reason on mine, I have to minimize it to be able to see the folder. Okay, so we will go, and I don't want it to go into the list or columns even. Stevie, there is Stevie. There we go. So we're going to open. Put it in the cloud, not local. Cloud means that everybody will see it. Local means no one else will see it but you. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to make it a figurine. I don't like things plastic. I want to make metal and import. So Stevie is blasting a lot. And I bet it's because I included, let's just put Stevie down on the ground. Is this because I did the
You didn't do it as
I made
trigger?
it, I think I made it flying above the ground. I think I made the, so I mean, it looks great, but we want to be able to turn it off. So, and I think it's because the gun object itself, yeah, the gun object itself has, I'm going to delete this because it's not working the way we want it. I wonder, did I make that box so big? It shouldn't be that way. Oh. Okay, but I think I know why the game objects. See, the gun default object has the it has the blasts in it. So by having the gun default object in my idle state, I think it's bringing those effects in. So what I need to do is bring them up a level, I think. So open the prefab and bring them up a level. Yeah, so that may do it. So now when you reference the gun default object on the turret, the gun default object does not include those two particle effects by default. I think that's what was happening. So now it's just the gun itself. I still don't know why it's got that big gap beneath it. I'll have to figure that out. It's probably because of the way the scene is set, actually. So we're going to delete Stevie from the Asset Bundles folder. Go back to the working folder that we were in. If I can find the working folder. I'm going to bring this turret boss down again a separate time after having made those changes. Create a new prefab, call it Stevie V4. I'm going to actually I'm going to keep it V3 on the asset build, but I'm going to go back to Stevie here. So I had two Stevie objects. The first one that didn't work, and it is still in that same asset bundle, so I've got to click none on it. Anymore. But this one, the V4 that we just brought down, is, and it's under the V3 asset name. So, okay. So we can actually right click, build the asset bundle again. See if it works. So it is working on its thing.
Looks like it's just down to you and I again.
Yeah. Okay. I think on the early morning times, folks don't like waking up early on a Saturday.
Can't blame them.
Really can't. And I've got it built into me. I can't help myself. Unity3d. I'm going to go back to Tabletop Simulator. We're going to go to that place. Going to custom asset bundle. Yeah, I think it's something with the scene itself. Stevie. Cloud. Upload. Figurine. Metal. Where are you? Did I lose it? No, no, here it is. But now I have the muzzle glow, which actually is kind of cool. Just having the muzzle glow, the muzzle, like, because that's like warming up. I didn't do that on purpose, but I think it's just the scene that's weird. Are you able to find it again? Yeah, I'm gonna take it off the scene and just print it. Maybe this will work over here. I think it's the flooring of it for some weird reason. I don't know. Here, it's on the table now, which is correct. So it's like the thing is getting ready to. You see me over here underneath the city. I'm gonna delete the cool city. So it's like it's getting ready to blast, and then if you right click on it, it blasts. And then you can right click on it again. Back to idle.
It looks different on my screen than on yours.
Really? Is it because of the? It's what does it look like actually? Is it like a box or is it?
Yes, it looks like a box. And then when you do the shooting part, it's a whole bunch of boxes going out. Whereas what I see on your screen looks different.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do about that. I bet it's to do with the. I wonder if there's a way to make it use your graphics processor.
Because I don't have that Unity thing, is that why?
I don't think so. I think that sometimes it has to be with the type of system people have.
Yeah, because right now I'm on my desktop, not my Mac.
So sometimes if we do rendering and you change that, you can let the GPU do the work, and that may be what it is. But I don't know enough about that to. I don't know enough about that to be able to answer the question fast. If there are people that watch this later and they do know, I hope that they will tell us.
That would be awesome.
Okay, so the first one, this little thing, I will give it to you, even though it's probably not. I'm gonna do it again. Figurine metal. I'll leave it on the table. Okay, so that is your Stevie. If you want to, you're promoted, so you should be able to save it. I don't know that you actually want it since it doesn't look right. So I will. I'll figure that out and see if I can fix it. Okay, so the other one. Let's do the second example. We have a few more minutes. So camera prefabs and rigs. I don't know that we'll actually get to rigs, but we have created a Unity Asset Bundle. We've imported it into Tabletop Simulator. We've utilized the Asset Bundle Effects plugin. We've added visual effects, which is what we just did. Now prefabs. Um, when you do an asset bundle on anything, it has to be from a prefab, I believe. And so um, when you're going to take something out of your main scene, just click and drag it down to the folder and it becomes a prefab. And then from a prefab, do this whole asset bundle, create new. And then what I have learned to do is after you make one, turn it off, make it none, or else you'll just have a whole bunch of asset bundles selected extraneously all throughout your folders and you'll never be able to find them again. So as you create an asset bundle, take it off afterward or else it's a real nuisance. Okay.
So, so as you create an asset bundle, the previous one that you had there, you turn it to none.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
So that I don't have little items associated with asset bundles forever and I don't know where they are. Like if can you imagine just having a bunch of those associated with different objects and folders all throughout and just never being able to find them again? That's happened to me. So that's why I do it, turn them off. Because then you come back a week later and you can't remember where was that Stevie V3 object at. I don't know.
It now this is a question. If can I take the Stevie that you've created
Mhm.
and open it in Unity myself?
I don't think so without some type of an asset extractor. I don't think, and maybe you can import a new asset. Maybe you can. So like if I were to go
Trick
to,
would be finding it, right?
well, so I just put it into assets and asset bundles. See, it can't import that Unity3d asset um, import package, custom package. I don't think that would work either because that's a Unity package. There are like projects out there that are asset extractors. If you just Google search, Unity Asset Extractor, it takes these Unity 3D files and then brings them back in um, for you. I'll do the second example since I said I would do two. So I'm going to hide this little turret boss because I don't want to see him right now. So there's the little thing right here. I'm going to just click it. And now I'm going to bring in fighter number 9. Now that's just a guy, dude. And he is some weird location. So again, 0, 0, 0. Oops. There he is. Here's our friend. Kind of like a Sub-Zero knockoff. So this is bringing in a object that is really a humanoid figure, And I lost it again. Where is he at? Here he is. Okay, so there he is. Where's the camera at? Weird location. Don't know why the camera is pointed. And I bet if I press play, it's all weird again. It's still showing me the turret.
And it brought the turret back in because he's back in now.
Yeah, I would just have to hide it again, but at least I can bring up this guy and just get him close to the. Oh, didn't mean to bring up the actual scene. Let's bring the fighter up. So the fighter and the. I don't necessarily want the fighter to be obliterated by the.
Run, run!
Yeah, that seems kind of rude. Okay, so I'm going to kind of tease at another thing that we can do in a different session, but this is. Let's turn him around. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So we've got our fighter dude, and I'm going to bring him a little bit further this way. It's still farther than I want it to be. Okay. So right now, this guy is just standing with his arms, you know, T-pose. This was called a T-pose. I want him to be in a kind of like a ready pose, you know. So what I've got to do is add a animator to him, and he's got an avatar too. The avatar came with the pack, so this Fighter 9, there is a Fighter 9 avatar. The avatar helps you control and has kind of like the way the body, the object fits to the bones. That's the way I understand it. So if I were to do Fighter 9 mesh, and then I'm going to do a controller as well. The controller is going to be, this Atom Wizard controller is not the controller that came with it. Actually, this didn't come with the controller, but I like the Atom Wizard controller because it has all kinds of interesting animations in it. So if I go to my animator, I can see all these different things that you can make the dude do. And right now, he's going to go into combat mode if I press play.
That's insane.
Yeah, I've blocked them all off because I don't want all those things to happen. But I'm going to do apply root motion, animate physics, always animate. So from here, in the scene mode, pause, he's just got his arms stretched out. But if I were to go into play mode, I think he will do like a, you know, like a, yeah, you see he's got his, now he's moving. He's got like different poses that he'll go into.
He's doing a kata right now.
Yeah, but if I were to, like, if I were to pause any of that, let's say that. That is a cool kind of like pose for a for a for a ninja fighter, right? I like that. So I've used the animator to get the guy posed in a way that I wanted. Well, now actually I can just take that fighter guy in that pose and click and drag him down as a prefab. See, it's like mesh number 1 now, and I will call that fight pose. So now I unpause this thing, and now he just goes back to being in the T-pose. If I didn't put this animator on it, he would just, when I press play, he would just be arms stretched out. So that's not what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the mesh that I have here, but I'm going to bring the fight pose back in. See that? Isn't that cool? Because now he's posed the way that I want. I could have him just animated in the scene, but I don't know. I'm just not interested in that right now. So now I've got him, posed. And the reason why I'm doing the pose is because I want to have him. I want to build a effect on it. So what I'm going to do is kind of look at our dude here, and I'm going to give him like maybe something in his left hand, or maybe in his, yeah, like a kind of an energy blast or a cold blast. We're totally going Sub-Zero today, in his left hand. And we've got like 21 minutes to do this, so I feel like we've got time for it. So what I need to do is I need to find the left hand of him, like in that fighter. So I'll go into the prefab again. So this is the fight pose guy. Click a little into the button, and if you buy a good asset or you make a good asset, it should follow this root structure of what's called rigging. And if you do that, then you can overlay animations on it. If they don't have these kind of built from the pelvis to the spine, it's like bones, really is. Then when you put animations on top of it, it just won't work. It'll just look weird. Sometimes it'll like crumple the person into a little ball, like an implosion, like a black hole. But what I want to do, so I want to define that hand, lower arm left, hand left. So I'm going to take my effects now, Magic Arsenal, effects, prefabs, and I want, what do I want? Maybe like charging, frost charge. And I'm going to put that in his hand. So where is it right now? I brought it into the thing and it's just at the bottom of the, but I'm going to take it, put it in his hand, hand left. So it's there. And I'm going to clear it out on the positioning. 0, 0, 0.
That is very cool.
Isn't it though? That's just the coolest. I'm going to move this thing out a little bit, I think. And up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just what we want right there. So now he will have this kind of charging effect. So just go back to the guy. Root, pelvis, spine, spine 2, spine, left clavicle, lower arm, hand, frost charge. I'm going to stop it now. So there you go. That's so cool. I wonder if there's like a light in there, point light. Yeah, I don't want that light in there.
You make it look so simple.
Well, this has been at least 3 months of trying to figure it all out.
I know. It takes forever.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that's really cool. I feel like the only thing that I don't want, because I'll have the same problem, is he's going to be, in the default state, he's going to be charging that the frost charge, and I don't want that again. So what I've got it positioned the way that I want now, but I think I'm going to take it out of his hand, you know, and just bring it up to the body. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So now in a posed position, I can reference, so a couple of things. Go back to the fighter, create the box collider so he doesn't fall through floors. I don't want him hovering off the ground. But I do want him to have his full height. It's good enough for me. So he's got his full height. Take that. I'm not going to edit that anymore. Is that right? Yeah. Then I'm going to add the TTS Asset Bundle Effects script. And from there, I will take off the trigger effects that I don't want to use it. We could do a trigger effects lesson, but I'm not right now. I'm not. So there will be 2 states. 2. The first one will be idle. And if I actually wanted to, I could take, I could bring a different, I could bring a non-posed hand in, you know, like right now he's posed like that, but I could, you know, have his fists down for the idle pose and then for the blast pose or the charging pose. But for now, I'm just going to do this because this is fast. So the idle will be the armor and the body. So it'll be 2 objects. Armors, and body. And I don't actually think you need the root stuff because I'm not going to try to make them move. So that's the idle pose. The second one is frost charge. There are 2 objects and 1, 2, 3, 4 particles. I think that's a particle. No, it's just light. That's a particle, that's a particle, that's a particle. So that light, I'm just going to have it as one of the objects. So on frost charge, there will be 3 objects. The armors, the body, and the point light. So he'll be kind of bathed in blue. Now, there will also be the rings, the particles, and the rings, different version of rings. So there'll be 3 particles in that version, in that setup. Rings, particles, rings. And that's it. There's no animation. I'm not moving him. I'm just doing different, basically, states here. So frost charge is those objects plus that. And actually, no, that's right. I do want the point light in the frost charge version. So there you go. You got the idle and the frost charge version. He's got a box collider. That's it. I'm going to turn off these things. I don't like them being on by default for some reason. Okay. So I'm going to take that guy. Now that I've done everything I want to do with him, I'm going to take him down. Oh, not there. I'm going to take him down into my characters working folder. Click, drag, bring him as a prefab, original prefab. Fight pose 1. So I'm going to call him Frost Fighter. See, I'm typing and nothing's working there, so I'm going to try it again. No, nothing's working there. Okay, try again. New. There you go. Frost Fighter. I'm a real original namer. I named a guy that worked with firefighter, and you know, that's all I got.
And then you put him in firefighter gear, and oh wait, that's a different thing. Yeah.
Actually, I think he was like a boxer. That's what he. Anyway. Okay, so Frost Fighter is there. I'm going to right click. Okay, so this is important. The firefighter, no, excuse me, the Frost Fighter, the Fighter 9 mesh, I think some of those meshes are pretty sizable. So I'm going to go into that pack where I've got them all. Fighter 9 textures. I just want to see, yeah, those are pretty big. 4096 max size on the resolution. So I'm going to bring those down a little bit. Otherwise, this token could be like 20 megabytes. I'm going to bring them down a lot. So I brought it down to 512. I just selected them all, did max size to 512, and then press apply. And I bet you don't even notice it. Like, you know, still looks pretty awesome.
Sure does.
I don't notice a difference. So as long as I don't notice a difference, I'm happy with the save. Okay, so before I made him now, because it's going to reference those textures when it does this whole asset build. Right click, build asset bundles. And let's see what happens. Let's see if Frost Fighter. I should have called him Sub-Zero. I should have done it. That's okay. I'd probably get myself in trouble for copyright infringement if I did that. I could have called him less than 0. That would have been safe. Isn't that what they do in the book of templates? The uncontrollable eye blast man. I saw that.
Yes,
in the part
exactly.
Of
Isn't that awesome?
It is. It's perfect. Okay, so the thing is built. Like earlier, you can go to the asset bundles, refresh it, and find the guy, Frost Fighter, reveal it. Here he is. See, it's still 2.3 megabytes, even with that reduction in space. So, I mean, I'm glad I did it. Unity3d. Now I'm going to go back to Unity3d, or I'm going to go back to Tabletop, Components, Custom Asset Bundle. And I'm going to bring in Frost Fighter. Figurine. I like cardboard for people. Are you going to blast a Frost Fighter?
Maybe.
See, this is interesting. He's animated still, and I did not want that. See, because now it's ready. I needed to turn off the animator. So I bet that's what I want. But what I would do now is, that just looks cool. I just need to fix it. Because we have some options. I could put the little frost charger thing in his hand, and so when his hand moves, the frost moves with it. But I like it in the States. I don't want. I don't want. I don't know. Like I don't want that always on. I like being able to control that it goes to the bigger version. So I'm gonna delete this guy. Fix the states. Frost charge. I'm going to turn off the animator. That will make it to where he doesn't move around when you build him. I didn't want that. And let's see on the idle pose, the body and the armors, those are the only things that are there. I don't know why the rest is there. Shouldn't be there.
Is it because the frost charge is further up the chain?
Well, I'm only bringing in the armors and the body. I don't think I brought in any particles in that idle pose. So that's, and that, I mean, there's nothing there.
Gotta get my dog. Be right back.
All right. I'm going to bring it, just make sure it's not a sub of it. So let's just see. Okay, so let's see if I can fix it. I'm going to bring it down again into a working folder. Fight pose. We're going to do original prefab 2. Turn off the one. Put that on the new one. Frost Fighter. I'm actually going to go delete Frost Fighter from my folder. I'm going to do it again. Let's create the asset bundle one more time. Gavrine, I see you've joined us, man. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, I'm just catching the end.
Yeah. I did a lot of kind of the explanatory setup, how to download, how to get the scene set right, the camera's right, you know, what mod packages I'm using, all that stuff. It's all in the beginning, and I'll post that later too.
Sweet, because I am missing a lot of info.
Yeah. I didn't do very much. I just, after I got everything set up, I kind of went into one specific area, but the setup isn't hard, so you'll be able to see it. So I am going to finish this thing, .unity3d, bring it back into tabletop. See if I can find our frost fighter. Figurine, making it, no, I make it cardboard since he's a person. Because people are made of cardboard, right? Perfect. Okay, so he is like charging. He's always got this light charging thing in his hands. And then whenever you want him to have the blast, you go to the looping effect, frost charge. That's awesome. Amrak, I don't know if you wanted to blast this dude. Are you even in a place where you could? Oh man, that's awesome.
I got you good.
That's so cool. And it doesn't look so cool on yours. That's the problem. I need to figure out, we'll have to research on yours. Why is it part of your hardware? Is it part of the way I built it? Because they don't, doesn't render as well. Doesn't render as pretty for you.
Yeah, and I'm wondering whether it's because I don't have those asset packs, so therefore it can't show them the same.
No, that's not the thing. Because if you didn't, then you wouldn't even be able to see the, because it's compiled into an asset bundle, and all the textures and stuff you need. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're right. Okay, I'm gonna save Frostfighter. Into my villains folder, and I'll save CVV4 into the bots folder. Okay. All right, that's it for today. I think we've covered all the objectives. Prefabs, rigs. We didn't cover rigs. Typically, when you do one of these guys, when you work with them, the rigs need to be set up for humanoid. But that probably just deserves a whole different session rather than, this is not a good animation session. This was just kind of manipulating special effects. But all right, I will save this and post it later for those that didn't get to see it all. And hope you guys had fun.
I did enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Yep, of course. Y'all have a good rest of the Saturday.
You too.
It's not
Can't hear you so well, Camerina.
it's not showing up for me once I joined the Tabletop Simulator. It's just like big green boxes.
Yeah, that's
So he's got the same thing that I'm getting.
Yeah, I think it's because of the way that the assets are compiled. The way you all, I must need to be doing something differently. But I'll figure it out and I'll post a follow up. I think it's the way the particles are rendering, and it might also just be this whole error that the particle format I'm using is obsolete, and I need to just upgrade the particle, plugin or the format that I'm using. But still, I will research that because I like using the particle effects and I want them to work.
If you look at what I've just started sharing, Caverina and Silkhide, is what you're seeing on your screen, Caverina, the same as what I've got on mine?
I'm going to stop the recording for those that are watching later, and I'll look at yours as well.